Hi, this is Eve Eliot, and today, surprisingly, I'm reporting to you from the bright side. Why is that, you might well ask? Well, it's Easter. From what I understand in my klutzy understanding of such matters, Easter is about resurrection. And in order to resurrect, one has to have, guess what? They have to have died. So naturally, that being my favorite topic, I'm feeling very brightened today by being with you and talking to you about another topic, which is another one of my favorites, which is evolution. Can you see the connection between dying and evolving and resurrecting? There's a connection there. So what I selected to talk about today, mostly because Easter also has to do with eggs, which need to be broken into and out of in order to get them nourishing, is breaking up relationships. This is the key here. Many of my clients and friends, and of course people in the media that we read about interminably in People magazine and such places, break up. Relationships break. Now we know from Buddhism and we know from nuclear physics that everything that has a form, the minute it takes form, begins to degrade. Relationships are a form, just like species are a form, human bodies are a form, social mores are forms. All these things basically have an expiration date, another one of my favorite topics, and come to an end. But what I have not addressed in former videos, and because Easter is a perfect time to do this, is the resurrection part of the dying. So here's the deal. A very close friend of mine called me last week, very, very despairing, because he was going to end his marriage. It hasn't been a very long marriage. It doesn't matter if it was 42 years or 4.2 years. The point was he felt so terrible about himself because he was going to be leaving this relationship and breaking a marital vow. His death do us part vow. Now here's what I reminded him. And I happened to be looking out at the marsh that I live near. And I was remembering in a millisecond, like sometimes the mind can do, evolution. And I thought, if the fish in this marsh were living in a contaminated body of water, they would have to find a way to become amphibious reptiles, wouldn't they? And they would have to climb with their little fragile fins out of the water and drag themselves out of the water like Marines landing in Normandy and somehow find a way to continue breathing. But the whole time they were doing that, and this is what I was emphasizing to my dear friend who was so despairing, they would be feeling terrified, like they were going to die, and some of them probably would. I knew he wasn't. But basically they would be resurrecting, wouldn't they, in a whole new form. So that's really what I want to say about Easter. I was going to say a lot of silly things about how Jesus died for our sins, but now that he's being resurrected, does that mean we have our sins back? But that's not really a very profound observation. More profound is that breaking up is not only hard to do, it's urgently important to do. And I know I'm flying in the face of Christianity itself, where, for example, in Ireland, it's impossible to get a divorce. So breaking up, bad, we can't do it. But we must break up with ideas that are contaminating us, that are actually killing us. Here's the paradox. While we're doing the breaking up, we feel like we're dying. We feel like we're dying or we're going to die. And something does, but something also resurrects. So here, correspondent from the formerly dark side with sparkly pink hair today, is telling you, cheer up and break up. It's the only way you're going to get the omelet that's going to nourish you. So thanks so much for listening, and unlikely from me, you're going to hear the following remark. Happy Easter. Coming soon, stay tuned. Titles such as Life in a Minor Key, Eat an Egg Already, or as my friend Wendy says, can't you at least have some cheese? And including How to Ruin Sex by Having It with Another Person. Thank you. This is Eve Eliot, correspondent from the dark side. Do stay tuned.